Master, you have to start speaking first.
Uh, okay, we are live already.
Yeah.
Okay, hi, good afternoon. Welcome everyone to PV's monthly open forum. And today is the third open forum that we are doing every month and Sunday afternoon. Yeah, last Sunday of every month and afternoon, last Sunday of every month. So today's topic we are covering, of course, there is still ongoing issue of the HDB Ang Mo Kio SIRS. Along the way, we will be talking about scams and scam statistics, and we will be covering a range of topics from, as usual, the inflation, cost of living, unemployment, employment, jobs, and anything numerical and statistical related. So yeah. Mr. Leong, Uncle Leong?
You know, I was doing the Let the Numbers Do the Talking live show with Terry Su, the chief editor of the Online Citizen, every Wednesday. Now, of course, Online Citizen died already, no? So, this is the, what you call the copycat, right? This is the third PV Open Forum. Let the Numbers Do the Talking. So the first numbers we like to talk about today is Puppet Master. I saw you posted in your Facebook a few days ago that the media reported Singaporeans got scammed more than $600 million last year or something. Can you please give us the numbers?
Okay, here is the scam statistics. You can find all this information on, I have collated and made a post a few days ago, and I tagged Minister K. Shanmugam as well as Minister Josephine Teo, partly because everyone knows Minister Shanmugam is the Law Minister and Home Affairs Minister. The police department, Singapore Police Force falls under his charge, but he has been taking the majority of flack of these issues of crime and stuff. However, Minister Josephine Teo is the Minister in charge of Cyber Security Agency, Smart Nation Initiative, as well as the current Minister for Communication and Information. And she has not come out and mentioned much about this scam issue. Alright. So as I have collated from media reports and Statistica basically covers the statistics across almost any and everything all across the world based on numbers. For the year 2021, last year, there was an average of 58 reported cases of scams per day for 365 days, because there was a total of 21,181 reported number of scams in the year 2021. And the Straits Times reported on the 16th of February, year 2022, which is earlier this year, that Singaporean scam victims have lost 633 million and $300,000 in total for the year of 2021, which is last year. Yeah, this was what I wrote in a very long post, of course, where I tagged the ministries of Communication and Information, the Ministry of Home Affairs, the Ministry of Law, and the Ministers of Law and Home Affairs, as well as the Information and Communication and Information. Yeah, this was my post. That was what my post a few days based about. Okay, and if you are tuning in live, make sure you share the link and I'm also going to share the link widely. So in case you see me, I'm on my phone. I'm actually sharing this. Yeah.
More than 21,000 people got scammed last year.
That's only the reported cases, according to the statistics. I wonder what about the unreported cases? I am doubtful, but yeah, those were based on the reported cases, and that's what they make the numbers out to be, and I just use those available. 21,181, I suppose, yeah.
Wow, so maybe we are the scam capital of the world, so I don't know.
Oh gosh.
Anyway, I met someone who got scammed $50,000 from a bank account in January last year. Until now, I haven't got a single cent back yet. So, Siva, over to you.
one thought I can offer. Why are we so susceptible to scams? Are we that gullible as citizens of this country? One reason I think is because a lot of Singaporeans are in a very dire financial straits. Anyone like to disagree? And when they are in dire financial straits, you tell them anything that can help them tide over their situation. They have a tendency to easily accept. So, what is the reason that they are in these financial dire straits? No prizes for guessing. We all know. Cost of living, low income going down. In total, I have been always saying the triple whammy. You're bringing loads and loads, truckloads, plane loads of foreigners into this country. You have people having difficulty securing a job. We are not talking about, far-flung, CEO jobs. We are talking about mid-level PMET jobs. Cannot get. Okay? Cannot get. And after that, what happens? Whatever meager job they find, the income derived from that job gets eaten away by the cost of living. They're left with nothing to spare. This is not a very rare phenomenon. It's quite common in Singapore. This has to be addressed. So this is a double whammy. But wait a minute. This double whammy doesn't remain, when it comes to senior citizen, it doesn't remain a double whammy. It becomes a triple whammy. Because their money, their CPF, their life savings, at short notice in around the year 2014 was subject to some changes to their withdrawal, and they could only withdraw not the following year or the year after that, but in the year when they turn 65. I think it has since been revised to 70. Now, when you deprive these senior citizens from their own money and make it difficult for them to get job, and the cost of living is so punishing, what do you expect? Any small idea given by anybody, come, I give you an idea to make money. Jump on it lah. So this is one major reason why I see people are very, very gullible and susceptible to scams. Thanks.
Siva, your theory is the more cash-strapped the person is, the more likely he may be scammed. But I just want to fact-check. I think you mentioned a CPF payout revised to start from age 70. Actually, it's not really revised. It's just that for those under the old CPF minimum sum scheme, you may probably have received a letter that says your payout at 65 has been automatically deferred to 70 to start your monthly payout. But of course, if you still like your payout to start at 65 or any time from 65 to 70 to start, you can always request, go to the website and do so. Siva, you talk about jobs. So let me give you the latest job numbers. This one came out last week. The media, and I quote the headline, "Job market continues recovery in Q2. Global headwinds such as inflation can dampen demand." This was a media report on the 29th of July. Now let's look at the numbers. Overall and resident unemployment rate down compared to May, but citizens remain unchanged. That means June compared to May, the overall unemployment and the resident unemployment rate went down. But the citizen one didn't go down, remain the same. And what is overall unemployment rate? That means including PRs and foreigners. What is resident unemployment rate, including PRs? And of course, what is citizen unemployment rate that did not change is Singapore citizens. Now, if you look at March to June, because what I just mentioned earlier is May to June. The citizens' unemployment rate increased from 2.8% in March to 4.0% in June. This is a non-seasonally adjusted rate. Of course, the unemployment rates are reported in seasonally adjusted as well as non-seasonally adjusted. Non-seasonally adjusted means this is the actual number who were unemployed as of end of June. And so the unemployed citizens increased by 24,200 or 41.5% from 58,300 in March to 82,500 in June, non-seasonally adjusted. And if you look at the unemployed residents, right, it actually increased by even more, 26,600 from 65,000 in March to 91,600 in June, non-seasonally adjusted. That means on 30th June, the actual number of unemployed residents was 91,600. Prabhu.
Gosh, unemployed people at 91 over 1,000 people for the total, if you include residents, citizens, and residents, which is citizens and PR, as well as the foreigners. It is you have to factor this in. Singapore is one of the most expensive and costly cities, even though you factor in not luxury items, even the basic necessities such as food, water, electricity, transport, as well as public housing or housing in general. Yet, we do not have any unemployment benefits or social security nets for these people to be unemployed. The unemployed numbers, which range at about usually at about a 3 to 4% around there. But I have also made a post with regards to CPF statistics about active accounts and non-active accounts. About out of 4 million, only about 2 million are active accounts. But if I have already reconciled the number of retirees based on available statistics information and stuff, so despite that, right, there is a bigger problem, which is underemployment. And I mean, the unemployment numbers is high. It is also scary. It is because how do you classify employment as a basic hurdle of minimum of 1 hour a week worked is employed? That is what Ministry of Manpower classifies between employed and unemployed. So even with this low hurdle, you cannot cross to be so-called employed in paper at least and to join the underemployed group. The underemployment is about close to 40%, which based on my estimates and when I reconciled the numbers. But imagine if that is you can't even qualify for this 91 over 1,000 people, can't even cross that line to be employed, minimum working 1 hour a week. It's very scary and disheartening. How do they afford to eat? How do they afford to pay the electricity bills and pay for their cost of housing or bare necessities?
Okay, Prabhu, I think the figure cannot be so much. You see, there are a lot of Singaporeans who are living or working overseas who would have an inactive CPF account also. Then of course, you have a lot of young people, even children who have not reached working age, who may have also a CPF account. So I think your 40% is a bit too big, you know what I mean? Okay. So, Siva?
Okay. When it comes to underemployment, you please go and read my Facebook post. Underemployment damages more than unemployment. The underemployment status of an individual is not officially recognized. I've never read that word being mentioned anywhere in our mainstream, which means is it been conveniently ignored? No. Underemployment is a proper English word. It's not my own figment of imagination. You look at You look at dictionaries, it is there. It is not as if I created the word. So, why is our establishment shying away from that word? Is it if the numbers are going to be assessed, is it going to be that embarrassing? Now, if you take on a simple binary, 0 and 1. 0 is unemployed, 1 is employed. Are you sure between that 0 and 1 there are no other numbers? Perhaps a fraction? If you go and total up, I think it will paint a very somber picture. That would be the centerpiece. Now, a lot of things we can talk about. In our present day Singapore, inequality, among those, there are many things like, even unrelated, some COE prices, all these, you take a big mahjong paper, you mark out all these problems over the big paper. You can find a lot of factors which will be connecting these issues. They are not unrelated. You can connect them and you can actually look into ways to handle them if you take a holistic picture of the present day life in Singapore. Try and look at them in totality and seek some solutions. We can't just go on like this.
Thank you, Siva. You talk about underemployment. I think Siva is right. As you said, you rarely get to hear or see underemployment being mentioned. In the media. But actually, occasionally, we do get what we call official unemployment time-related statistics. Time-related means people who are unemployed but they want to work longer hours. That one occasionally we have. What is very difficult to estimate is underemployment due to skills, education, training, and experience. For example, someone who used to be paid $5,000 and now he's working a job that pays him $1,500. That would be skills, education, training, and experience related underemployment, which is very, very difficult to estimate. Now, let me move on to another number. 2 days ago, the government's lawyers, the AGC, were awarded $22,400 in legal costs and disbursements from the poor unvaccinated litigants who started the judicial review because they were losing their jobs, and since there's estimated more than 100,000 non-fully vaccinated adult Singaporeans now, the judicial review which they filed in December last year actually was a very important judicial review because it affects a lot of people, more than 100,000 people who may have already lost their jobs or could still lose their jobs today because employers can still choose not to employ people who are non-fully vaccinated. So let me read to you the post that I saw at TR Emeritus. In summary, the class action coordinated by TR Emeritus was primarily in respect of the COVID-19 discriminatory measures allowing employers to terminate non-fully vaccinated employees, among other things. In this connection, it may be interesting to note that only 300 persons out of a population of 5.45 million have been granted exemption from being vaccinated or on medical grounds. Wow, that means 5.45 million people, only 300 managed to get exemption from vaccination. It's like touching toto. The AGC had argued that the Ministry of Manpower, MOM's, communication allowing employers to terminate non-fully employees was only an advisory and not a directive. So one of the grounds cited to dismiss the judicial review given by the government's lawyers was that the MOM's communication to employers that they can sack non-fully vaccinated employees was only advisory and not a directive. Hello, if you're an employer, you receive letter from MOM, you think you know the difference between advisory or directive. But anyway, that was one of the grounds used, right, to dismiss the judicial review. The judgment also described the statistics presented by the litigants as shaky, even though the computations were derived from data published in the Ministry of Health MOH website. You mean statistics can be shaky, man? I thought statistics either is true or false, right? But never mind. The computation showed that the primary reason of so as not to stress the healthcare system for the COVID-19 discriminatory measures was mathematically flawed. As the ratios, the incident rate times the number in the respective population for those in ICU, fully vaccinated versus non-fully vaccinated, indicated to the contrary. Oh, so the litigants' grounds was that the reason for having this discriminatory measure is, of course, the main reason given was it would stress the healthcare system, right, was mathematically flawed. Because when they do the calculations, they find that actually the ratio between the fully and the non-fully vaccinated did not show that it was the non-fully vaccinated who was stressing the healthcare system. Oh, very long, but this one important, so I have to read. As the class action was a matter of very significant impact, affecting an estimated 132,000 non-fully vaccinated adults, which may be increasing by the day now, as many have not taken the required boosters to maintain their fully vaccinated status. The litigants submitted to the court that no cost should be awarded, as this was a matter of great public interest, since so many people were affected, and also a matter of great constitutional importance. However, the court was still not on the side of the litigants, and the litigants have to pay 22,400 costs to the government's lawyers. This post ended with, if you like to, please write something and share with your friends. Prabhu, would you like to share with your friends and say something?
Well, you see, just now we were talking about single whammy, double whammy, triple whammy. I think for the unvaxxed, this is a fourth whammy already, okay? With regards to unemployment, underemployment, being unvaxxed and they might or might not be able to get a job. And now this is an additional cost because these poor 6 people decided to take up the judicial review for the rest of the unvaccinated, and now about the 20, what is the exact cost? 20-something thousand, right?
$22,400 they got to pay.
$22,400. So I hope that people in the unvaxxed community roughly range at about roughly about 100,000 people. I hope among the 100,000 people, everyone comes up with $1. Everyone gives one like, one comment, one share, and try to defray the cost, or else this poor 6 litigants got to the information of with regards to this crowdfunding is already available publicly. The bank account they are using is Han Hui Hui, who is the lead litigant. I would also like to take this opportunity to, earlier I missed out about this part. Inflation, well, whether you're vaccinated, you're unvaccinated, inflation hits everyone, alright? And what is the highest percentage or sector to be to face inflation? Any guesses? Okay, quite a distant. Food is 5.4%. Actually, is transport 18.8%. The inflation in transport. This was reported by Channel News Asia Infographics as per the Singapore Consumer Price Index. It's ridiculous, 18.8% for transport, and of course in Singapore they are factoring this down to the rise in oil, gas, and fuel prices, petrol and diesel price. But this is the funny part. However, when the price comes down, right, our pump prices also doesn't seem to go down miraculously.
Also because COE reached record high, right? 107,000 or something, right?
Yes, you factor in the COE as well. It's not a wonder. This is the highest. And of course, you mentioned food, right? Food comes in at a third. Next, in between transport and food, I mean, the next so-called essential in modern life is, of course, clothing and footwear. You need, whether you're a casual or formal, you need to go and work, you need appropriate footwear. Clothing and footwear, the inflation is at 5.5%, which is the second. The first being transport, 18.8%. You guys mentioned food, right? That is at the third, 5.4%. And of course, the next essential is housing and utilities, also inflation, 5.2%. Mr. Siva, your...
One second. I just remember something interesting. You know, the inflation went up 7 point something percent, right? But then you read the media reports, the headline was saying like core inflation went up 4.4%. So anyway, I have no comment on this. Hey Siva, has inflation been affected you? Don't look like it, right? Because your shirt, the seams seem to be bursting. Over to you.
Of course, I have to make it look as if as much as possible nonchalant about whatever that's affecting me.
Affect you because you cannot afford to buy another shirt, or because don't affect you eating more?
Okay, so the way things are going, they're trying to smooth talk into saying that the inflation will hit the maximum and thereafter recede over the end of the year. I think that's a pipe dream. There is a lot of things indicating that this inflation will be around for some time. I would fathom until the GST, and if the GST is increased and thereafter. So looks like we have to make do with whatever price increase that is coming our way. But can something be done about it? How is it that the COE prices continue its northward march so strongly? Now, it is as if the upper echelon of our society doesn't seem to be at all affected.
Censored. You know, 2 persons charged with criminal defamation and found guilty because in their post they mentioned the upper echelon society. Oh, see, also so the people talk about upper echelon society.
Economic upper echelon. Not any other way.
Yeah, upper echelons of society. Actually, the term upper echelons is very vague. We do not know who or what is we are referring to, but the exact terms that 2 people got charged for because they allege there is corruption of the highest echelons. This was the exact quote unquote word was used, yeah.
The upper echelon here is the economic upper class I'm referring to, the CEOs and such.
Okay, now the latest news on SIRS Ang Mo Kio. Okay, now if you remember, on the 4th of July, the last parliamentary sitting, 361 residents signed and submitted a parliamentary petition to Parliament during that sitting on the 4th of July. And the petition was rejected because it did not meet the requirements of the standing orders of Parliament. And also, the 9 questions filed in that parliamentary sitting, July 4th and 5th, was not debated at all because the question numbering for this SIRS Ang Mo question was like 72 to 78 or something. So no time, so there was no debate. So the latest is, right, the residents have refiled a parliamentary petition, right, and it has already been accepted by the Clerk of Parliament. Okay, so the next sitting of Parliament is the 1st of August. Oh, tomorrow?
Yeah.
Okay. So, have you seen the 4-minute video of the SIRS Ang Mo Kio residents complaining about how stressed they are, their grievances over this SIRS en bloc exercise? If you have not, go watch the video. It's a 4-minute video. And the funny thing is, if you read most of the media reports, they tend to say that most of the residents are happy with the new 50-year lease option that was offered to them. But then what I cannot understand is, if most of the residents are happy, then why did so many residents file a petition to Parliament? Prabhu.
Obviously, most of the residents are not happy. So where did they get this information? Most, and by most, out of the how many units again? 550 units. Did they cross about a 275 or 276 to say that they are happy? Obviously not, because the number of people who out of the 550 units that the residents who actually filed for this petition was
361 residents signed the parliamentary petition out of 606 residents. So they are all
you have
mostly
crossed-
happy lah.
So you have crossed the 50% mark. Obviously, I don't think these people are happy. If they were happy, why did they file the parliamentary petition? It's just weird and strange with of course, the Straits Times and the media and all are ranked one of the last in the developed world. So I wouldn't put it past them to actually, try to sugarcoat or try to add sugar into something bitter and feed it down the throats of the public. I wouldn't put it past them.
Hey, allow me to suggest a possible reason now. If you need taxpayers to pay $180 million a year for 5 years to keep you going, maybe you don't know how to count already lah. What do you think, Siva?
Okay, it seems that, some could have most of them. When you say most of them, everyone is going to think my neighbor. Okay, if let's say in a particular neighborhood, when you say most, they would think that probably 90% of them. But it could very well be just a small number, and they think that since everyone has already agreed, should I not just keep quiet and walk away? So what happens is that they exercise self-censorship because they think that many of them has already agreed. What for? I speak law, just go along with them law, and that's it. The matter gets subsided and dies off. Everybody suffer in silence. Okay, this is what is going to be the inevitable outcome if we don't speak up now.
Okay. Oh, I just saw something very interesting about SIRS Ang Mo Kio. You see, the HDB recently, 5 days ago, put out a post called Just Facts regarding the SIRS Ang Mo Kio en bloc. And I quote, one of the facts quoted is that the compensation criteria to the residents includes existing and new amenities, infrastructure planned in the area. For the Ang Mo Kio SIRS site, this includes the future Tavistock MRT station on the upcoming Cross Island line. Now, as one of the residents, said, how come these existing amenities and infrastructure and the new MRT station was missing in the compensation criteria that was sent to the residents in April when it was first announced? So the residents said, this is like, we voiced our grievance in our petition, then you simply just copy and paste and added them as criteria in the compensation. I think, Prabhu, you have something to say about this, right?
this sounds like, one can of worms open, and then when you are pursuing that matter, another can of worms opened, and so on and so forth, and to the point that when they find the can of worms open, what do? They just keep on kicking it down the road one after another, and this SIRS issue it started at about a good 2 months, 3 months ago. We're still hearing about it, and tomorrow is already August. National Day is upcoming, and this issue hasn't been resolved. Of course, at the last month's parliamentary sitting, they tried to kick the can down the road and not allow the petition. And where has that led? 1 month later, at this sitting, the clerk has to accept it, and it will be heard tomorrow in Parliament. Well, earlier, Mr. Siva brought up the issue of GST being charged, and I also brought up about GST is going to be increased. But it does not make any sense for GST to be increased, especially inflation, as I have brought up in the numbers, that is rising and is off the wall. GST will simply add on to inflation, and if the government, I also do not see why does the government requires more tax dollars at this given point of time, because I believe NCMP Leong Man Wai just released a highlight of what the government's financial positions were, that we have 1.5, not million, not billion, trillion, 1.5 trillion dollars, which is the estimated reserves based on what the government has, the Auditor General's report, the financial position of the audit. So I do not understand why is there a need, when you have 1.5 trillion dollars, why is there a need to raise GST, which will give you maybe about 3 billion extra in taxes?
Well, actually, the latest update on the estimate of the reserves is 1.89 trillion. So if you just take a conservative 5% return, that's about 100 billion. And your GST increase is only estimated to have additional revenue of 3 billion. So like Prabhu say, don't know why lah. Okay, Siva? You are speechless because you see the numbers.
Yes. I hear the numbers, I don't know which end to start from. So, the basic question that arises, with so much in reserves, promise that, all these are being stashed away for the rainy day. You know what? Now we are having a thunderstorm, it is completely a disaster zone. Okay, hurricane plus thunderstorm and whatever natural disasters that come along.
Figuratively, it is thunderstorm lah. We live under lightning logo. Okay.
But with all that, our reserves cannot be touched. Even worse, we are going to be taxed even more to add on to the reserves. It leaves me scratching my head. What are we heading towards?
Just in case you wonder how got people laughing, there are actually some people behind the camera who are listening and hey, Siva, a lot of people say you look like somebody,
Oh gosh, let's not even go there. I would like to vouch that Mr. Siva has a pink IC and a red passport. He has actually even stood for elections.
You sure his tourist visa has not been extended for another 14 days?
He is, no matter how the resemblance, this man is not Gotabaya Rajapaksa. And speaking of Rajapaksa, he's wanted in Sri Lankan, he has to make an appearance in Sri Lankan High Court tomorrow.
Okay, let me add something. Okay, in Sri Lanka, there was much to be spoken about 14 years ago. Tamils were targeted. I'm a Tamil, by the way.
Tamil. A lot of people say you look like who lah. Okay, but the only thing this person very famous now is it's got what we were talking about when we started. He's now alleged to be the greatest scammer in modern times. So you you have anything to say that you look like the biggest scammer in modern times? Nothing. Prabhu, you Tamil also.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. But however, I also come from a mixed background. Yeah, that's why I look distinctively Singaporean. You can't really tell which ethnic group or what I belong to. Yeah, so this is terrible. We're talking about scams. I mean, the statistics released for scams was like bank scams, love scam, fake family, fake friend scam, or job scam. Job scam is the highest. They ask you to pay some deposit so that you can find a job and whatsoever. And of course, now the Sri Lankan people are alleging that Gotabaya Rajapaksa is the biggest scammer, like in modern times. I think even more than 1 MDB, right? The alleged amount.
Wow, you have overtaken the former greatest scammer. Okay, I'm not Tamil, but 5 years ago I did help a Buddhist foundation in Sri Lanka crowdfund for the first ever orphanage to house homeless Tamil children, and this was a very meaningful thing that happened about 5 years ago, because for the first time, can you imagine, after 25-year civil war, a Buddhist foundation was building an orphanage for homeless Tamil children. I didn't do very much. All I did was to make an off-the-cuff funny suggestion to the high priest when I said, have you tried multilingual crowdfunding? The high priest said to me, what is that, Mr. Leong? I said, oh, that means you write your crowdfunding and then you ask as many people in the world, your friends, to translate into Korean, Japanese, French, Spanish, and then share with their friends. So they tried that. I believe the first time ever multilingual crowdfunding in Sri Lanka, and they got the money for the orphanage. So that is my Tamil connection also. Okay, I think we have come to the time with 15 minutes left to let Singaporeans ask about the numbers. So, Prabhu, would you like to go to see whether, what are the questions that people are asking? Anybody here in the audience, behind the camera, you like to ask anything, say anything? Raymond? Shaking his head.
Raymond,
Jack? Grace? Vignes? Those who don't want to be named, you can also ask questions. Anybody at all? No? See, I think I was scared, You lah. Right? Talk about upper echelon society, Oh, Vignes has a question. Yes, Vignes. He passed the mic to her.
I'll pass the wireless.
Oh, Vignes cannot come in front of the camera today. If you meet her later, then you will know why.
She's the camera woman and running the live stream lah. So that's why we are actually small and short-handed. Everyone have to multitask to keep this ongoing. So okay, hold on.
Actually, that's not the real reason she cannot appear in camera lah. Because just now you told her not to own self cut, own self hair mah. Okay, Victor, sorry, please.
Testing. Okay. My question is, do you think that the scam is like linked to what is that, hacking? That means like hackers actually are the scammers, something like that. Do you think there's a correlation? And then if there is a correlation, then why isn't the government taking enough action to actually curb these hackers so that the scamming does not happen? I'm talking about mainly online scamming because they got access to our bank account and all this.
I don't have the answer to your question, but while our two IT experts are thinking about how to answer your question, I'm going to tell you something very funny about scam, Earlier this year, I was in Parliament during the scam debate, right? So then they kept on saying, oh, you must download Scam Shield, no, you must download Scam Shield. So the moment I came out of apartment, I turned on my phone, I tried to download Scam Shield lah. But you know what's the problem? Scam Shield only can download for iOS. Most Singaporean on Apple, iPhone or what. So, and funny, right? Anyway, so dear IT experts, are you ready to answer Vignes's question? Babu.
Okay, basically, I'm not an IT expert, but I work in the finance, and finance is moving towards fintech, especially when you put finance or traditional finance, which is handling of cash to the bank teller and stuff, which is moving towards technological or electronic transactions. So her question was, is there a correlation between hackers and scammers? Well, seems to be, because whenever there were cases of hacking with regards to OCBC Bank, DBS banks, and stuff, and scams, which include bank scams as well, because there are a couple of types of scams. Some involves hacking, like the bank scams. Like, how did the scammers get hold of the information of data of bank account holders, information, name, and which bank, what account, and stuff like those. But there are other scams that do not need hacking, like the job scams. Someone posts as a simple post on, let's say, some job sites or some forums, right, offering a job, but in return, before you even get the interview or any interview, you need to pay some sort of down payment or deposit. That's a scam as well. So there are a few types of scam, but answering your question of correlation, well, having electronical payments such as PayLah, PayNow have actually made it easier for scammers, because they, not like last time, a few years ago was the magic stone. They put like some stone into the water and they ask for cash or some sort of scam. It's done in person. Nowadays, you could just do some scam off social media, some platform, and ask for money transfers. So there is a relation, and I feel that the authorities or the police, right, need to be heavily invested in crime fighting to fight the crimes of today and fight the crimes of tomorrow by having more intelligence, cyber security, and people who are able to work in ITs and IT, information technology, security, and people who are actually able to trace, track, capture, and apprehend these scammers. My feeling, just opinion and feeling, that the police are actually old school, old fashioned, walking the ground, trying to catch online scammers. That is my feel, yeah.
Okay, Siva, since you look like the greatest scammer of all times, I'm sure you have something interesting to say, right?
Friends like this.
With friends like this, you don't need enemies, right? Okay.
Okay. Now, when it comes. Okay, now when it comes to scams, scamming is essentially a human behavior, a human weakness. In the present day context, a lot of opportunity for scamming arises because of the extensive use of IT. So we are already stuck with it, so we have to live with it, that the scamming would go on. But it is the authorities who has to take a proactive approach and prevent this scamming through ITs. And of course, scamming does not have to be through IT, but it is very convenient with the IT. So steps have to be taken to address that issue. But a slightly unrelated issue regarding IT. In the early 1990s, we were told that the future of the economy by the government that is going to be in IT and financial services. But in the present day, after almost 30 years, 28 years, okay, we are being told that Singaporeans are not ready for IT related jobs. Why is that so? 1994, it was told that future is going to be IT and financial services. What happened now? Financial services, we are seeking foreigners. Same for IT related. So what happened along the way? Were our population, imagine, even if you trained primary school students in 1994, we would have a lot of Singaporeans in their 30s skilled in IT. And we don't have to rely on foreigners so much. Yes, for some very specialized need, but for the large PMET type of jobs, we don't have to rely on foreigners. What happened?
Yeah, Siva, I have the simple answer to your question. If I'm an employer, then I employ the foreigner IT one. I no need to pay CPF, so straight away I save 17%, right? Then if I employ the male foreigner, no NS National Service Liability. I employ you, 1 year maybe I have to go reservist up to 40 days or something, no? Then I employ the woman, she get pregnant, kena 4 month maternity leave. I employ the foreign one, very unlikely she will get pregnant to come here single to work, right? And of course for work permit, understand, they're not allowed to be pregnant even in the first place. And of course, many people I talk to, they say the biggest reason, the greatest reason why employers prefer foreign workers is because don't have turnover problem. They are here a 2-year contract. You torture him every day, right? Nothing happened. He cannot run. But you employ the Singaporean, you breach some employment act or you do something you're unhappy, you go complain to TAFAP, see, my friend there waving at me, just paid, complain to TAFAP, you got your money already, right? Okay, right, okay, I know you all want to, but only 6 minutes left. I just saw something very, very interesting, so I'm going to do it, well, because we only see, very, very interesting one. This one just came in, okay? Media launches interactive salary guide. How your salary compares to others. This was launched about 6 days ago, okay? So you can actually key in your age, what is your pay, what is your job, then you can see how your pay compared to other people. Very interesting, right? So I also went in and I key in, okay? My name is Leong Zien. I'm a 60-year-old female cleaner. My pay is $1,400. Boom! I press the thing, wow, come out like, I'm in the bottom 32% of my peers, like. That means among my peers, right? I'm in the bottom 32%, okay? Then, what is even more funny is then it go on to tell you that where is this? Oh, then it goes on to tell you that there are actually 173,700 full-time employed residents in the age group of 60 to 64, and my 1,400 pay actually right, is in the bottom 32%, okay? And this is the one that tops it off, because it says that the basic pay of cleaners has just been increased. And listen to the figure, $1,312 on 1st July 2022, 1 month ago, under the PWM progressive wage model. Progressive,
Progressive.
Very progressive. Okay, you guys have 3 minutes to answer. Over to you, Siva.
Okay, now, with all these, obvious, it's not hidden, it's very open that employers tend to prefer foreigners for specific reason. It is quite open. No more, it's no more talked in a very hush tones in the corners of coffee shops. It's spoken about on Facebook, social media, everything. Isn't that enough time for the government, the establishment, to take steps to address these issues? I'm sure there is enough time, right?
Yeah, so you're talking about the progressive cleaning or model, right? You see, this is what happens, when the people who are, let's say, cleaners who used to earn lower than $1,312 or $18 or whatsoever, right, is good for them. But let's say a cleaner that is earning already $1,004, the employer might actually cut your pay, you know, because their mindset is, oh, the government set a minimum this much. So last time I was overpaying you. Would it not be the case?
I doubt lah. If the employer like that, the cleaner will take the detergent and throw at his face. No lah. I don't think employers are that, that wicked and that, kiasu or that, like Chinese say, kiamsiap, okay. Okay. So, we have come to the end of the third People's Voice Open Forum. Let the numbers do the talking. If you like what you saw and heard today, say something in the comments, share with your friends, and we look forward to seeing you, hopefully, same time, same place. Actually, this place is secret, right? We cannot tell you where it is.
Yeah, I cannot say like it's online at our PVSK.
Anyway, we want to thank the person who have allowed us to use this venue for 3 last Sundays of the month for 3 months already. I hope that nothing will happen to you, but
whenever you come to the end, you always say we have come to the end of this. But I just got inspired. Okay, whenever we are finishing a session, we have come to the end. But Winston Churchill, this is not the end. This is the beginning of the end, or the end of a new beginning. And yeah, that is
well done, spoken like the true puppet master, quoting none other than Winston Churchill. Goodbye.
bye. See you guys.